Ave Maria, welcome back to No Apologies. So today we're going to take a look at just two more Old Testament types or prefigurements of the Eucharist. And the first one is found in the prophet Elijah and the hearth cakes, which became for him his superabundant strength to endure his great journey from the wilderness to Horeb, the Mount of God. In the first book of Kings, chapter 19, we read about Elijah just after he had slayed all of the prophets of Baal. And in the first verse, we read about how King Ahab relates to the wicked Queen Jezebel all the things which Elijah had done. And Jezebel sends a messenger to Elijah promising to have him dead that very same time the next day. When the verse 3, we read Elijah's response. Then he was afraid, and he arose and went for his life, and came to Beersheba, which belongs to Judah, and left his servant there. But he himself went a day's journey into the wilderness, and came and sat down under a broom tree. And he asked that he might die, saying, Enough now, O Lord, take away my life, for I am no better than my fathers. And he lay down and slept under a broom tree. And behold, an angel touched him, and said to him, Arise and eat. And he looked, and behold, there was at his head a cake baked on hot stones, and a jar of water. And he ate and drank, and lay down again. And the angel of the Lord came again a second time and touched him and said, Arise and eat, else the journey will be too great for you. And he arose and ate and drank, and went in the strength of that food 40 days and 40 nights to Horeb, the Mount of God. So Elijah takes this cake that was brought by the angel, and it becomes for him such supernatural strength and nourishment that he travels for a full 40 days and 40 nights non-stop to Mount Horeb, to the Mount of God. And so it is with us. God has provided for us our supernatural strength, our superabundance of nourishment needed to endure our pilgrimage to our Mount Horeb. And that supernatural strength is His very own flesh and blood, hidden under the appearance of bread and wine. The graces received from the Eucharist strengthen us to persevere in the Christian life, making our way through the wilderness and up the steep slopes, not without stopping, without looking back, until at last we fall ourselves up to the top of the mountain, our eternal rest with God. So the first Old Testament type is Elijah and the hearth cakes. And the second type we want to look at today is Melchizedek, the king of Salem, who was also a priest, who is a foreshadowing of a Eucharistic priesthood. In the book of Genesis, chapter 14, this mysterious priest shows up just after Abraham has rescued his kinsman Lot from the kings who had just overrun Sodom and Gomorrah. In verse 18 through 20, we read, And Melchizedek, king of Salem, brought out bread and wine, and he was priest of God Most High. And he blessed him, and said, Blessed be Abram by God Most High, maker of heaven and earth, and blessed be God Most High, who has delivered your enemies into your hand. So this priest of God, Melchizedek, brings forth bread and wine as a great blessing upon Abram. And so too our Lord at the Last Supper brought forth bread and wine, and by transforming it into His very own flesh and blood, brought forth His great blessing upon us. His physical presence with us always on this earth, and the nourishment of our souls and our bodies in Holy Communion. The priesthood of Melchizedek foreshadows the priesthood of Christ, who, as the psalmist and as St. Paul testify, that he is a priest forever after the order of Melchizedek. So here we have two more Old Testament foreshadows of the Eucharist, Elijah and the hearth cakes, and the priestly king Melchizedek. Thanks for joining me here on No Apologies. Ave Maria.